Hey, it's Heidi with Heidi Rain Coaching, lovecoachheidi.com. And today I have a very special video for you on how to maintain no contact with a toxic or dysfunctional person in your life. So let's just say first, if you've clicked on this video, can I just take a minute and tell you, I totally understand what that feels like, what you're going through. It is excruciating. Even if you decided, even if you're the one, right, that decided to make no contact, it's so hard. It's very painful and it leaves you feeling full of anxiety, full of anger, sadness. Just overall, I don't want to underestimate how hard this is for you by giving you these 5 tips to maintain no contact, right? Look, I'm not delusional enough to think that you're going to come to this video and you're just going to get these 5 tips and it's going to be smooth sailing, but I do know for sure that if you listen to these 5 tips I'm going to give you very carefully and you do practice them in your life in this very hard season that you're in, it will change you and it will change your experience. How do I know? Because I not only do I practice these in my own life, and I have for many, many years, because I have a black belt in toxicity and dysfunctional people, and I was one of them actually as well, but because I've helped thousands of clients in a very similar situation to you find peace and make sense of the senseless and be able to have the joy that you truly deserve. And so now I'm making this video around the holidays, but it's really appropriate at any time, right? And you can come back to this video over and over again if you're in this situation, you find yourself in this situation. So just because I'm going to focus on the holidays doesn't mean that you can apply this anytime in any place. You absolutely can. So how did you get here? How did you get in this situation? Usually one of 3 ways. Either somebody in your life, you had to make the decision to go no contact. And maybe that's because this person is very dysfunctional. Maybe they're even addicted. Maybe they're full on in their addiction, and it could be so painful because it could be your child or your husband or your parent or somebody you really love and care about, but you just said, look, I got to protect the family. I can't keep subjecting myself to this or my loved ones to this. I need to take a break. Or maybe you didn't decide this and you got excommunicated because you have somebody in your life that their particular flavor of crazy is to abandon or reject you, seemingly out of the blue. And here you are blindsided yet again. And you're kind of in this situation where you don't want the break, but somebody else imposed it upon you. And now here you are. Or maybe it's kind of a gray area where you're on a break, but it ended on okay terms. It's just that you need to come up for air. Whether you're in a relationship that you don't know if it's over yet, but you need the distance and the time and the space to figure it out. And so what's the end result? Doesn't matter so much how you got here. It matters that you're here. It's me and you right now. Right? And I understand what you're going through. And so I want to be a support system, a light in the dark place that you're in. Shed some light, and I'm going to do that by enlightening you with these 5 strategies that I'm going to give. Now, you probably know me well enough. If it's your first video, hello, hi, I'm so glad you found me. If you've been here before, you know that I like acronyms, and so I just believe it's a real easy way to understand and put into practice some of these concepts. And today's acronym is GIFTS. Why? Well, not just because it's the holiday season, but because, hey, there are gifts in every experience in your life, including the ones that seem senseless and hurtful and painful. There's a gift. There's a silver lining in all of this, I promise you. And so let's start. All right. So in order to maintain the no contact and not try to break it or go back in or sign up for more cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, here's what you need to do. Number 1, get grateful is the G in the gifts. And so I know that sounds like, oh yeah, oh gratitude. How can I be grateful, Heidi? I have a child who's addicted. I have a husband who blindsided and cheated. I have a mother who rejects me and abandons me. I understand. How can you be grateful in a situation like this? Well, I want you to think of it this way. You've been in a war, and you've been in a war you can't win. Because you're in a war without weapons, and you can't win this war. You cannot manage the unmanageable. And so when you wave the white flag and you let God's grace kind of carry you to the next place, you get rest and reprieve. And that's what I want you to be grateful for right now. I want you to be grateful that you've been in this battle And actually, in the meantime, I don't know what's going to happen later on, but I know right now you're actually given the opportunity to rest, to take a breath, to breathe, right? To just come up for friggin' air. And so if you can appreciate that, and for what it is, a break, a respite, a reprieve, right? An oasis in the desert of misery that you've been in, then you're able to kind of get a little bit more perspective. So, and also we can carry this all the way home, right? You can get grateful for many, many other things that are working in your life. It's just that when things aren't working, what do we tend to focus on? The one relationship that's falling apart, the one thing we can't make right? But I guarantee you, if you look around, you will find multiple things that are working in your life and that you can be grateful for. All right. Might take some practice. I actually find that a ritual for me is every morning I prime the pump with gratitude. I start off because look, when you're in a crisis mode and you have that person or that situation that's causing you the pain and you're on the break or you're no contact, it's very tempting to just wake up and your mind immediately goes there to the person that's suffering or struggling or causing you pain, right? It's tempting to do that, but you have to be very conscious and deliberate and intentional in directing your mind, and gratitude is a great way to do that, to prime the pump. So I start off in my morning with a little meditation of just flooding myself with what's right, with what's working, not what's not working. All right. So let's move on from the G. So the G is get grateful. The I is actually invest in the relationships that you have in front of you that aren't broken, that are working. You know, I have a relationship in my life that I'm no contact right now, right? It came kind of, it was not a blind side totally, I'll explain that, but it was one of these situations where it was like, oh, okay, here we are, where I have to disengage, I have to go away. And it wasn't something that I desired, but it's just the way that it went down. And so for me, I could spend a lot of time being with my husband and talking about that thing, right? And using my time with him to talk about, can you believe and so did this? And can you believe that that's happening with that person? Or, you know, many times when I was growing up, I had, you know, my alcoholic father was like robbed the holiday, right? Like, it's like, oh, you're trying to enjoy yourself, but I'm looking over at my dad and he's like, I'm worried he's going to light the damn house on fire because he's got the kerosene heater working with the Marlboro light hanging, a Marlboro red hanging out of his mouth after 14 Miller Lights. I'm like, shit, the place is going to blow. And I'm sitting with the people that I love and I could be like communing with them, but I'm focused on what's happening with this person who's spinning out of control. And what I'm doing is I'm robbing that person. I'm robbing that relationship of investing in that relationship because all my time and attention and energy goes into conversations around the dysfunctional or toxic person that I'm not even with. You might feel the same way, right? You might be sitting at the dinner table. You have an addicted child or a spouse that's cheated or left or toxic or whatever. You have a table full of people around you and they have one empty chair of the person that's not there. And instead of serving everybody else a meal at the table, you focus on the empty chair that's not there. And you rob everybody of you, of the experience of having you. So invest in the people that are there for it, for you, that have showed up for you, that have demonstrated over time that they're loyal, they're loving, they're kind. And those are the people that are in front of you right now in this moment. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. If you're focused on what you don't have and the person that's gone, you're going to miss what you do have that's in front of you. And that's, again, tied into the gratitude. So invest in those people that are here now for you, okay? So that moves us on to the F and gifts. We're kind of moving right through. Real simple training today, but profound. Simple, but profound if you apply these. Really, it's like a spiritual practice in your life. The F is for focus on the present moment. Here's the deal. I have no idea what's going to happen in your toxic or dysfunctional relationship. I don't know if they're going to have an epiphany, come to the Lord, hallelujah, hallelujah moment, where they're going to apologize for the error of their ways. They're going to get their shit together, praise the Lord, and you guys are going to go on your merry way. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do know it's not happening now. And even though it's not the way you want it, this is where you are in this present moment, you know? And here's the deal. Twofold. when you focus on what's happened in the past, all right, and you replay the tape of the thing that happened that got you to this position. They cheated, they lied, they abandoned, they rejected, they got drunk, they relapsed, they did whatever. And you focus all your time and attention. You know, your brain doesn't know the difference between past, present, and future. So every time you're retelling that story of the thing that happened that created this whole thing, you re-traumatize yourself. Live in the here and the now, not in the past of what happened that got you here, and not in the future of what could be or what might be coming down the pike. Now, right now, be here now. Where are you? You're in a winter. You know, we follow the same rhythms and cycles of the planet. And we are seasonal creatures, right? We have phases, like the moon has phases. Sometimes it's a full moon, sometimes it's hidden, right? We're in a winter right now. And a winter for a lot of people across the board is like a time for reflection, contemplation, vision, and hindsight. It's a time to get quiet and go within. And for some people, they love that, right? When the snow falls, it's like a blank slate, right? It's just a time to just reflect. Everything gets still and quiet. And it's time to go within. For other people, they see it as like barren, dead, freezing, something to endure and get through. But the winter is a teacher. The winter is here to provide perspective and clarity for you. The winter is, you can't avoid it. It's here, right? But here's the deal. When you can be comfortable in winter, when you appreciate it for what it is, just a time of quiet reflection. There's nothing to do right now. There's nothing to fix right now. There's nothing to make happen right now. It just is what it is. And you let the winter be the winter. The spring is coming. All right, I know that because that's God's promise to you. The spring is coming, but right now you're here now. If you're willing to be where you are in winter and let it, grieve the feelings that you need to have whenever you're feeling the feelings, that's really important. Look, you've had a loss. Even though this person is toxic or dysfunctional, you miss them. You probably long to be with them at points and times. Allow yourself to be in that winter and go within and actually experience the feelings that you're having so they can come up and come out and burn off like the sun. Don't repress them. Don't try to fix them. Be where you are, right? Focus on the present moment. If you are in the present moment and it makes you so uncomfortable that you're thinking, oh, I just wish it were different. You know, I just wish I could fix this or change it or how it once was or how it'll be again. You start to time travel again. You have to understand that the wisdom of the season is being within the season that you're in. Allowing yourself, giving yourself the pleasure to experience. Don't numb it out. Don't go have a glass of wine. Don't go eat those cookies. Don't go make the pie, right? Be here now where you're at. And then when we go through the other acronyms, you'll find out how to actually manage those feelings that you're having. But the feelings that you're having are important. They're vital. They're necessary. So allow them to come up, okay? So let's move on to the next thing. So we've got G for get grateful in our gifts acronym. We've got I for invest in the people that are in front of you. We've got F for focus on the present moment. T is my favorite thing in the world. I believe in it so much that it's actually a guiding principle in every program, retreat, seminar, and event that I offer, everything I do. It's called trade self-righteousness for reality. Self-righteousness says, this shouldn't be happening to me. This sucks. Girl, people should know how to behave on the holidays. People should know how to behave in life in general. Your mother shouldn't treat you that way. Your father shouldn't behave that way. Your child should know better. Your husband doesn't behave this way. We put all these expectations and we tell people how they're supposed to behave and the role that we put them in our lives instead of allowing them to be who they really are. Here's the reality. A dog barks. The sun shines. A chicken clucks. And your mother does what your mother does. Why? Because you don't have a mother, you have a Betty. Okay, I really want you to understand this. You don't have a mother, you have a Ruth. You don't have a husband, you have a Rick. You don't have a child, you have a Billy. Okay, you don't have the role you put people in. You have the human being you've put in that role, and now you're a slave to the expectations you hold. When you actually sit back and trade that self-righteousness, which is it should be this, it should be that, it shouldn't be this, and you should all over yourself, when you trade that for reality, you're set free. Now, What does that mean? Well, Heidi, I just let people be assholes because that's the nature of an asshole. Okay. Yes, but then here's the next step. Now you decide how you want to experience that person. That's where your power lies, right? That's where you take the control back from other people. You take the power back from other people and put it back where it belongs, rooted down in you, in the worthiness, okay? Rooted down in your true value. And you say, do I want to tolerate that? Do I want to sign up for that? So when you're tempted to look around at people and expect them to behave like a puppet in your play of life, I love you, I'm telling you the truth. When you expect people to play your puppet in your play of life, you rob yourself of joy, peace, sanity, and self-esteem. So when you let people be who they are and you choose how you experience them, then you're really set free, all right? I believe in it. It's one of my tenets in my programs. If you ever come through a program with me or retreat or work with me one-on-one, you will have access to actually understanding how to do this. It's actually a step-in-step process. It's easier said than done. I actually help you have that paradigm shift that you need to have so that you can see people clearly. Here's the cool thing. You might do that exercise with me on your mother or your father or your husband or your child, but once you do that exercise with me in our retreats or our programs or our one-on-one, you actually are able to do it with every human in your life. And then that's really the freedom that I speak of, where you are untethered from anybody else. It's like you become, I have these here. I'll show you. Oh my, I keep my pens in them. I have my Wonder Woman cuffs, okay? And it's literally like when I understand this concept, I'm able to ward off bullshit. Okay? I'm going, ting! Oh, you're coming at me with this, bing, right? And I'm able to just do the damn thing, all right? Trade righteousness for reality, okay? And that leaves me to the last thing. I know, like I said at the beginning of this video, that's a little bit easier said than done. And so the S in GIFTS acronym is support. What support do you need? You need to speak up and speak your truth and say, I'm struggling. Oh, I could use a hug. I could use a talk. I could use some support around me. And it's one thing to ask for support. It's another thing to be cautious of where you're getting it. A lot of the times we go to our friends or our family who are well-meaning support systems, and you might have somebody really exceptional in your life, but you have other people in your life who aren't so great at giving support. In fact, if you look at their life, you don't quite want what they have. But you're looking to them to tell you how to do it. You're looking to them to show you the way. The way where, honey? Okay? You got to ask yourself that question. I want to support you on the journey because I know the path, right? I've walked the path, and then I've helped thousands of people walk the path with me. You need expert guidance sometimes when you're dealing with this kind of thing, right? When you're dealing with somebody super toxic or dysfunctional or dealing with addiction. I have different programs. I have different support systems in place for you that take the guesswork out of it. You know, when your well-meaning friends come over and they're like, oh, girl, you just need to forget about it. Just move on. Just do this. Easier said than done, okay? I actually have a step-by-step system because I believe in systems. I believe that there's a way, right, to get to where you want to go. And so I've dedicated my whole life to mapping out what is the way, mapping out the way, and finding the way that works best for you within the way, right? And so I want to help guide you along that path. Now, if this is you, and you know you need that support, please come on. Let me come alongside of you. Send me a private message. Go over to lovecoachheidi.com. Request a complimentary consultation. Book yourself an appointment. Do it now before the holidays come and you're a ticking time bomb, right? Do it now. Don't go another year. Don't go January 1, I'm going to get it together. I'm going to have the relationships I deserve. Start now so when January comes, you have the momentum that you need, or whenever you're watching this. Or if it's not you, I know you know somebody who is going through this situation who could use the support and certainly could use some of these tips that I've shared today. So will you be so generous to be the light in their dark place and share this message with them too? All right. Again, the acronym that I've given you today, if you use it, it will work for you. The G is get grateful, my love. Find the joy and the reprieve and the respite and the break. The I is invest in the people in front of you. There are people who are here for it. Be here for them. The F is a focus on the present moment. Rid yourself of that anxiety or replaying over and over again the incident, right, that has happened that brought you here. Live in the moment now in the winter that you're in. Feel your feelings. The T is trade self-righteousness for reality. Don't be interested in how it should be. Be interested in how it is. That's where your power is. And then the last thing is get the support that you need. I want to be that person for you. I believe I can be. All right. I love you so much. Take excellent care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you very soon in my inbox or in another video. Bye-bye.